Okay, let's talk about Saudi Aramco. Reports of 121 billion in profits, more than Meta, Nvidia, Amazon, and Tesla combined. So Saudi Aramco, the oil company out of Saudi Arabia, and Floyd. Let's get Floyd home.
Please.
No.
I'm there. Listen. Hold on. Listen. Dr. Girl Collection. Hey, y'all need a little cash app or something?
No, it's not a jokeable manner. Let's get
Floyd. Free Floyd.
We gotta get Floyd home for real.
We gotta get Floyd
until it's the other way.
He's a national treasure. Let's get Floyd.
So if that's real, like we really need to get him home.
Send the wire.
Boy hasn't been home in forever.
You know what? I just thought he just decided to live out there. For all reports, but now we're hearing something different.
Listen, if I be in Mexico 55 days, pay whatever New Jalisco need, please.
Yo, when you come
back, right back.
Nah.
When you coming back, never. If I do the belly play too soon,
if we see a fight in the next 3 weeks, we know something's up. Let's not lie. Like seriously, let's get Floyd home.
Let's get Floyd home.
He has children. He has a grandchild. People that rely on him. So
shout out to the champ. But so how soon before Saudi Aramco becomes the number one company in the world
again?
I mean, I think it may be 3 or 4 years. And while we're having all of our tech and geopolitical wars and sending money out to other countries and not taking care of ours, not reinvesting into our people, no one's talking about Saudi Aramco. And they have a real business. That oil and oil refinery business, that's not a cute little tech trinket. When I saw how much revenue they did in comparison, like YouTube, behemoth of a company did 8.1, they did 121.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, I think as a country and as there's too much, even with the Dustin and Elon situation, there's too much emphasis on drama and not productivity. Meanwhile, you don't hear any clashing in UAE, Dubai, Australia, amongst their big business magnets. And I think it's one of the things that is causing a slow degradation of some of our companies. And this is definitely affecting productivity, but please I've been screaming this for 2 years. Keep your eyes on them, because I think once they get their lead, they may not give it back, especially if Apple doesn't produce as well. The iPhone doesn't become better. It's going to be tough. They are a sleeper, a multi-billion-dollar sleeper. And I think if they get their lead, they won't give it back for probably half a decade.
Do you think it's Apple that should be? Sorry, I mean, those numbers are incredible. When I looked at the question, I'm thinking to myself, the person that they'll probably need to pass is either two companies. I think number one will be Nvidia first, and Microsoft second. Last week, the new Nvidia chip was released, and we were actually on a plane looking at it. And Jensen personally delivered it to Sam Altman. Personally, literally traveled to give it to him, to make sure that he knows that we are supporting you, and whatever you need for innovation, we want to be the person. And so that tells me again, OpenAI will be using the new Nvidia chips,
absolutely,
which means Microsoft will be involved in that as well. So I think,
in times of war, you got to take care of your allies. I'm sorry to cut you off before they get in the conversation.
But I mean, it brings back Elon into the conversation, because he originally was a part of the founding group when Jensen did this the last time. He brought the chip, and it was to Elon and Sam Altman. Obviously, Elon's not a part of OpenAI anymore, but he was one of the founders. And so,
sometimes you got to bring the ring to the better person on the second time around. You got to quit acting erratic.
I think they're the company that becomes number one within the next 2 to 3 years. Saudi Arabia. It's interesting because you hear people, especially here, when we're talking about oil reliance and all dependent, and like, these fuels are going to run out at some point. Their stance has always been, no, not really.
And even for EV to be mainstream, to get 40% mark, because I'm looking at some of the press pieces coming out about why electronic vehicles are not taking headwinds, but you can see the PR spin in them. They're going to have to be bought out by an oil company for EVs to get mainstream. You think that oil and gas business is going to go down without a fight?
Yeah, I was watching a report. I think it was in Wall Street, where they went for, especially in Saudi, where it was like there was this influx of transportation, and so cars and taxis became influx, and now there's an overhaul of them. So now they're moving into public transportation. I think their railroad system that they're trying to build now, and I think it'll be done in the next couple of years, is now like the epicenter where you can get from place to place in obviously a short amount of time, but to relieve some of this traffic. The next thing will probably be, and maybe we'll see how they will react to autonomous driving, right? So if we're talking about Tesla now doing it in China, get vehicles off the road, get people, is it autonomous now? What would that investment look like? Or will they say, this is a threat to our economy in a sense? Should we not be a part of this? It'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. But the fact that not many investors talk about it stateside concerns me, because the next big companies are never the ones that are predicted. Like back in the day, Yahoo Finance or Yahoo was supposed to be the next big company. When Marissa took it over, didn't happen. And then you have quiet killers like Google come in, Facebook come in and take over those reins. I don't think enough people are focused on Saudi Aramco being number one as a threat.
All right. Well, we'll monitor the situation.
Yes.
And let's talk about Nvidia. So will anyone catch Nvidia?
I think the only player that could probably will be Taiwan Semiconductor. My big caveat is always the geopolitical threat, and if the land gets taken over. But I think and this is almost infamous to say, but Jensen, I think, is like similar to Steve Jobs for this generation in terms of the innovation and how he's delivered. I don't know if anyone can catch up. Now, if you take that geopolitical threat away from Taiwan, now we have a race. Arguably, they could be, and we can argue Nvidia benefited from that threat the most of Taiwan Semiconductor. I think they would have had that preeminent position, but I don't know if anyone can catch up. Taiwan Semiconductor would be number 2. AMD has not done as well, not performed as well, so they are definitely a dark horse. But if there is a company, it'll be a new company that is created out of Google, Meta, Microsoft. It'll be a big player that funds that innovation, if you will. I don't think any of the pre-existing players will be able to pass them up. The lead's too far ahead.
And can we officially say that Intel is that there was a great piece in Wall Street Journal about its failures, and the administration, when we talked about the infrastructure bill, the administration stance is that it's a legacy company, right? It dominated the 80s, dominated the 90s, early 2000s. It was very, very important. It made a crucial mistake not being part of the iPhone. There was like a whole history about it, how you know, Steve Jobs went to them and tried to have them have their chip inside of it.
And laughed in his face.
They laughed, and they probably the biggest mistake they've ever made, and it's gone downhill since. But the infrastructure bill kind of is leaning toward, this is a company worth saving, right? So when we talk about Taiwan Semiconductor and our reliance on it, why not have, I mean, I guess the thought is, why not have an American company take some of that share? Is it officially dead? Is this not even worth trying to save? Because if you look, they've been allocated money inside of this infrastructure bill to help with this.
Listen, when y'all go meet with Biden, sing this for me. Don't save them. They don't need to be saved. No, it's dead. It's finito. Muerta. Just go. And Rashad already got on the vest. Do the eulogy. Like it's at 31. If it goes to 25, maybe it's worth the swing trade. But once again, their all-time high was in 2000 when I graduated high school at $75. TSM, ASML, AMD, Nvidia, Microsoft with the partnership, Meta. You have 6 big competitors that you're nowhere near close to.
Yeah, Qualcomm, Samsung, all of
being sick. Yes. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention Samsung. No, I'm sorry.
Not worth saving.
Kid, the dog, everybody dying. No lie, it's over with.
Yeah, billions of dollars they've been awarded. So,
and I think this is a great lesson too, to never look at as an incumbent company as the little brother that cannot surpass you. Look how much bigger they could have been if they would have partnered with Apple back in the day. Yeah, they haven't had, and I know people are like, well, they got a crypto project. Man, I've been screaming this for 2 or 3 years. Intel's dead. I haven't seen a Pentium processor and nothing.
Yeah, they really haven't innovated. This the biggest thing inside these chips is the size of them, right? And so, like, if AMD and Nvidia building their nano chips at like a size 3, Intel's still at a 7.
Like, bro,
so, like, Think about how many
That's like
devices.
a brick cell phone, like a cell phone like this.
How many devices are you going to be able to fit in at that size? And so there's a clear advantage. They haven't caught up into it. So
let's talk about U.S. Steel.
Yes.
Is U.S. Steel a buy?
Another legacy company that you need to go pay your respects to. I mean, 2008 it got to 196. Currently at $37. If something has been down for 23 years, I don't think this is going to be like the Kobe year that it emerges as a great company. I like it maybe at 14, $15, 15.28, but no. I know this is becoming like fodder in the investor circles that it may rise from the dead, but you can't argue with data. Like take for example, if I was at the pitch competition and I said, "Hey, I have a textile manufacturing company," and Rashad, you're like, "Hey, what's the revenue?" And I'm like, "We've been down 23 years." Immediate get off the stage. How you even make it up here? So no, I would rather deploy the money internationally to Saudi Aramco or another venture, because if we look at it now, we're really seeing like everyone is your competition. I didn't think Dustin would say anything to Elon, and I think even in Dustin telling some truth, there's something that he's launching that he wanted press for and use Elon's name attached to it. So when you're deploying capital, it's a great lesson. Like, you're not just looking at returns based on sector, you're looking at overall return from every category. That money would be much better spent in Microsoft, Apple, AMD. I would argue Disney's a way better buy than US Steel. So yeah, this is another one to go pay your respects. I think this is one is dead in the water. US Steel, Intel, there are a few of these legacy brands that need to die off.